up, everybody? It's your boy Jonathan D'Angelo, aka Johnny D. I got Danny, aka Neko Yasha, and damn Dad Bod, the fitness expert, with me. And today we are talking about episode 4 of WandaVision. And what an episode! Not too many. It wasn't so much about the Easter eggs; it was more plot oriented. And we got to see a lot of what happened outside of Westview and what was going on leading up to the events of episodes 1 through 3. What did you guys think of the episode as a
Everything
whole?
finally made sense.
Finally.
Everything made sense.
Go ahead.
So it finally got real. It finally got really real. And they wasted no time in this episode.
They did.
Already with the comeback from the blip. I was like,
I love that.
I was like, is that chair still in the same spot 5 years later for her to just pop back up? And whatever. She's back. She's back.
See, no, that was the first thing I thought. I was like, everybody's coincidentally blipping back into the same spots, and it's just right. And I'm just like, realistically, as someone who's worked in the healthcare field, I'm like, that's not how any of this works, but that's fine.
But I mean, you gotta think about it, like when and that's the funny thing. The Avengers didn't even think about that. They were just like, we're just gonna bring everybody back. People disappeared in the middle of the street, in the middle of, like, you know what I mean? Like, people
imagine airplanes.
Yeah, people were on airplanes,
on cruises.
Yeah, so like you blip, and you could blip in the middle of the air, or did you blip back in that same airplane?
Yeah, because remember Spider-Man Far From Home touched based on that, remember?
I guess when Hulk snapped, he wanted everybody to because you have to will it. So he snapped, and when he snapped, he was like, I want everybody to come back exactly where they were. And everybody literally came back exactly where they were. And Spider-Man Far From Home touched on the blip. But what I like about WandaVision was that they actually showed the chaos of, I was just here 20 minutes ago. No. Nah, bro. Like, no, you were not just here 20 minutes ago. Imagine the dead bodies that disappeared, or the people who were dying and they just disappeared and then reappeared and were dying still.
Right. Like, that had to be peak chaos.
Yeah.
So what happens with people who are in the same spot as where the person like blipped from? Like the exact same spot. Like, what if somebody
what if somebody was in like a surgery and then they blip back on top of that surgery, and now you just got two bodies mid-surgery, and
yeah, like you and the surgery disappeared, and then there's a new surgery in that room. That was crazy. Remember, like, when the blip happened, right? And that's another crazy thing, right? When at the end of Infinity War, you see Nick Fury blip, right? And then behind Nick Fury, right before he blips, a helicopter crashes because the pilot disappeared. Remember? So what happened to the people in the helicopter, the airplane that might have crashed?
They did.
Like,
they're all dead.
Like,
they blipped back in the air. So people that got blipped back. Wow, say that 5 times fast.
Right.
Died.
But did they die, or did they just appear in? Like, that's well, because
they died.
There might
remember. Well, don't worry about all that.
Yeah, no, because remember in Spider-Man, when they were having that basketball game, the marching band blipped back in the middle of
the basketball game
and ruined the basketball game. So it's safe to assume people still died coming back.
Oh yeah.
That's wild as fuck. I kind of want them to touch on that somewhere in the MCU, like people that made it back and still died because like they got snapped exactly where. But that was very interesting. So we've all suspected it, but it turned out to be true, right? The all the characters that we thought were gonna be in this show are in this show. So we got was Agent Wu, right? From Ant-Man.
From Ant-Man.
Monica Rambeau, who was the little black girl in Captain Marvel. Right, and then surprise, Darcy from Thor 1 and 2. Was she in 2? Yeah, Darcy from Thor 1 and 2 showed up.
She was, yeah.
Was she?
1 and 2. Yeah,
Kat Dennings' character. How you miss Kat Dennings? That's wild.
Because the
whole
different. Running gag. It's because she matured because it's been 5 years.
She looks young.
But no, the whole joke was her not being able to pronounce Mjolnir and calling it Mia Mia.
But yeah, she's back in. She came back, and she came back as one. So recap. So the episode opens up with Monica sitting on her mother's deathbed. Her mother being the best friend of Captain Marvel. Her mother was going through cancer with chemo treatments. She blips. Her mother dies 3 years later after the treatments cured her, but the cancer came back. But her mother was head of S.W.O.R.D, which we don't see in existence until the end credit scene of Spider-Man Far From Home, and we'll get back to that in a second. But her mother, after the events of Captain Marvel, founded S.W.O.R.D with Nick Fury, and S.W.O.R.D was supposed to be anti-extraterrestrial operations, and so Monica was an agent of S.W.O.R.D along with her mother in the shadows, and then after the blip happens, Monica comes back and realizes her mom is dead and somebody else is running S.W.O.R.D. And her mom, right before she died, thinking that everybody was going to come back via the Avengers, makes their operations more home based. And Monica gets Monica responds to an FBI missing persons case, and that's when she meets Agent Woo from Ant-Man. Agent Woo was like, "This isn't a missing persons case. This is a missing town because this town doesn't even because nobody but us can see this town." They deduce that it's because they were out of proximity of whatever caused the town to disappear or appear in the first place. Because the local sheriffs are like, "This town doesn't exist," but they were standing right in front of it and they couldn't see it. And so when Monica sends a drone in there, a S.W.O.R.D drone in there, it disappears, and then she walks down the street trying to figure out why it just disappeared out of thin air, and she gets sucked into WandaVision, the TV show. Woo calls S.W.O.R.D. S.W.O.R.D shows up with a whole military team and everything. That's when we meet Darcy. Darcy shows up as an astrophysicist, which she was in Thor 1 and 2. And she discovers that there's microwaves and was it microwave? No, it was like
cosmic it was CMR waves.
Yeah, it's like cosmic radiation waves, but she was able to channel them through an old school television and view the TV show. And that's how we got the first end scene of WandaVision, where somebody was watching them on TV because they were literally watching them on the television. And so after a couple of drones get sent in, the guy gets sent in the sewer. The beekeeper, he wasn't a beekeeper, he was a biohazard guy. He gets sent in, he doesn't come back. You see on television the incidences where Woo and Darcy hooks a radio up and tunes it to the frequency of the CRM waves, and Woo is able to speak to her on the radio, which we busted that Easter egg our last episode, right?
Yep.
You said it was Woo. And every time a glitch happens, Scarlet Witch is aware, and she just corrects the glitch and edits the broadcast. And so when we get to the part where Darcy and Woo see Monica or Geraldine mention Ultron, we see that Wanda literally shoots her out of the reality, and
the whole town.
Like
the whole town.
He shot her out the whole town.
The
whole reality.
She didn't have to do her like that. She didn't have to do her like that.
Like, no. I hope she's not too on it. Like, they didn't really say she was injured, but I hope she didn't get too injured.
The thing is, though, it's almost like Monica didn't quite know who she was. Like, because when Wanda asked her, like, "Who are you?" She's like, I don't know, but I know your brother got killed by Ultron. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, so I don't know if she was faking that. We'll find out next episode, maybe. But after she was shot out of Westview, Shield picks her up off the lawn. But that's how the helicopter we saw in episode 2 ended up on Wanda's lawn, was because S.W.O.R.D was sending drones in trying to see what they could see, but they couldn't because of the magic that was surrounding the area. And Darcy mentioned that the radiation is actually deadly, but because it's contained for now, she said, it's not something that they have to worry about. But if it ever got out of hand, then they would have something else. They would have another problem on their hands. Biggest Easter egg, though, was Vision. My boy. He
Oh my god, I'm not gonna lie. When they showed his busted head, I was kind of like I wasn't like scared, but I was like, oh. I was like, oh. I was like,
zombie
oh.
vision.
I was just like, I was not expecting that, and it caught me off guard, and I was like, oh.
He said, what's wrong?
He was like, what's wrong? You dead, mother.
I was literally had the same reaction as Wanda. I was like, oh.
Is there something on my face? What is it? What?
So
no,
like,
there's something gone from your face, bro.
Your life. so she's puppeteering Vision.
That's so gross.
Because when Monica came out of the portal, she was like, "It's Wanda. It's all Wanda." So
she been kissing Vision.
Does that technically count as necrophilia?
Yes.
No, he's a robot.
But he's a robot.
He's alive, but he's alive.
Is he really alive though?
Listen, her vibrator broke. She was feeling some type of way. She wanted that old thing back. That's what it was. Because
he's just artificial intelligence. So that brings the argument: does artificial intelligence really count as being alive? Or
listen,
that's a whole different conversation we have no time for right now.
I know.
Fact, between iRobot, Terminator, but no, we said it though. She could have downloaded Vision. We said that in the in our Endgame review episode. They were trying to download him. So it's like I still don't understand. Like I
don't get how any of this works either. It's
magic. Because they were trying to in Wakanda. They were trying to download him. It didn't work. He died anyway. I'm like, well, if you could have downloaded him without the stone, if you could have downloaded his consciousness without the stone, then why did the stone affect him living in the first place? Like that, I don't know. That plot hole confused me. But Vision is dead, and
everybody said he's
not
dead.
Not blipped. Dead.
Right. And that's the crazy. And then another thing too is all the people in Westview are missing persons. All of them.
So Wanda came back.
Stole some people.
Messed up Thanos, and then just started picking people off the battlefield. Like, well, we just gonna go to this town, and y'all gonna play out this role.
But when Vision said we could go anywhere we want, she said, no, we can't. So is that a no, we can't because I don't want to? Or is that a no, we can't because I can't?
I don't know. We'll have to find out.
And I think they identified everybody as a missing person, right? Mm-hmm. Including Agnes, right? Or did they not? Yeah, including Agnes. So everybody is a missing person from Jersey.
Missing. Yeah.
So she kidnapped those people, or she either did it on her own or was influenced to kidnap those people. So quick overview of Agents of S.W.O.R.D. Because I know everybody's like, well, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yes. Okay. So Joss Whedon was doing Uncanny X-Men and just put S.W.O.R.D. together one day in Marvel Comics. Like, he was writing X-Men and he was like, Agents of S.W.O.R.D. Just go with it. And that's how they got introduced to Marvel Comics. So basically, Kevin Feige was like, Agents of S.W.O.R.D. Just go with it. Same thing. So Agents of S.W.O.R.D., the purpose of S.W.O.R.D., what after S.H.I.E.L.D. was founded by Peggy Carter and Howard Stark after Captain America, right?
Right.
We know that. And Nick Fury carried out that tradition after he came on board. And then so did Phil Coulson. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is still justifiable. It's still a legitimate entity. However, S.W.O.R.D. was a secret shadow organization of S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. was like the upfront FBI, CIA organization, and S.W.O.R.D. was like the Black Ops. Nobody knows about this organization, which means that Hydra wouldn't have been able to infiltrate something that they did not know about. And I put quotes. I say that loosely because I find it hard to believe Hydra didn't know about S.W.O.R.D. But maybe they didn't because they never touched on it in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Captain America. S.W.O.R.D. didn't appear until Spider-Man Far From Home. So I'm assuming that after Captain Marvel, Nick Fury and Monica and Monica's mother founded S.W.O.R.D. with Captain Marvel and Phil Coulson. Because Coulson wasn't at the end of Captain Marvel, but he was involved in Captain Marvel.
Yeah, he was one of those just characters where he was just like, not necessarily cameo, but just there to serve as continuity. That yes, Coulson was here because he was basically a Skrull most of that movie.
Yeah, he was. So, but he knew about the scroll and the Kree because in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 1 or 2, season 1 or 2, they capped on the Tahiti project, which is how they brought Coulson back to life. Was they used alien DNA to repair Coulson's dead body, and that was the Tahiti project, and that was part of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So S.W.O.R.D and S.H.I.E.L.D. at some point worked in tandem, but S.W.O.R.D was supposed to protect against extraterrestrial threats, and so it was founded in 1995 alongside after the Captain Marvel incident. And so there's speculation online. Well, where was S.W.O.R.D during the Chitauri invasion, and where was S.W.O.R.D during the crease, the scroll phenomenon in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and where were they with Avengers Endgame? And the way it was,
the reason for that is because nobody thought we'd get this far.
Right. There was that, and the fact that like I think the working theory, I seen it on Screen Rant. Screen Rant was like, well, all the alien threats we had teleported to Earth. They didn't just fly in. I was like, touche. Because by the time the alien, like when the Chitauri invaded New York, Nick Fury sent in the Avengers, and that was enough. And then and when Thor showed up, he teleported. He teleported into S.H.I.E.L.D. into it, like S.H.I.E.L.D. got there first. So it was like, okay, well, S.H.I.E.L.D. got it, then we ain't got to worry about it. When the aliens showed up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., at that point, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was like 50 people deep, and they were dealing with Thanos, and Thanos literally just showed up. He was like, hey, we out here. Run me those rocks, G. Like, so, S.W.O.R.D in essence didn't really have proper response time. Like, but those are working theories. I think the reason why S.W.O.R.D never really was active with any of the alien invasions is, one, because Kevin Feige just slid it in here like a movie ago, and two, to justify the next like phase of Marvel, and two, mostly because there were the Avengers. So if the Avengers are superpowered beings, I don't think S.W.O.R.D would need to get involved with any of that.
Yep.
And then even if S.W.O.R.D could have gotten involved in Thanos, everybody blipped. So there was really nothing you could do. It's like, oh, Thanos, let's mobilize. Oh, everybody disappeared. Never mind. Stand down. Like, because that's literally what happened. So, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Is I want to see S.H.I.E.L.D. I want to see more S.H.I.E.L.D. No.
You get none. You get
they
none.
had their time.
They literally had their own series. How many movies are they directly involved with? And now it's time to phase out.
Yeah.
Coulson's not dead though. He's a robot now.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
What?
It's okay. What?
We'll have another talk about because I don't even know.
Robot now.
It's too much. It's too much.
Too much.
I gave up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So
Coulson died like 4 times during the show, and then in the end they brought him back as a robot, as like a artificial. It's basically Vision, but Coulson with Coulson's memories, and that's like
that's too much.
You see the face I'm making.
That's too much dependence on one person.
That's Marvel, bro. Don't act like that's not Marvel.
I love Coulson, but he ain't that serious.
Listen, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if you haven't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it's fire. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is
really though.
It is. No, it is.
I gave back Ghost Rider, so
no, give Ghost Rider a chance. Like, it's not. I
did watch it.
After
did
Ghost
not
Rider,
like it.
No,
that was like 4 seasons. I'm not trying to watch anymore after that.
Listen, that shit was lit. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually one of the best superhero shows of all time. Top 3. I'm saying that as a DC fan. I'm saying that top 3.
You said that about Wonder Woman 84, bro.
No, Wonder Woman 84 is one of the best DC Comics movies of all time, and I will say one of the best comic book movies of all time. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is literally top 3 best superhero shows of all time because of its consistency, and its character development. That DC Comics.
I'm mad that me and You're making the same.
I'm not saying it's
because
better.
we don't believe you.
Listen,
I'm mad for
never,
once we're on the same wavelength.
I never said it was better than Smallville. I said it was one of the top 3. I never said it was better than like Smallville because it's not. Smallville is probably the best one.
Nobody brought up Smallville.
I'm saying though, like we're off topic. All right, leave me alone. Look, Agents of S.W.O.R.D is good. I don't like it's good. It's worth a watch. But now we're in S.W.O.R.D. So which does bring up the question, what happened now? What happened to S.H.I.E.L.D.? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. played out, right? And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. technically still exists under new management. It's not Coulson, it's not Fury, it's somebody else. Another black guy, but it's somebody else. His name is Mac. And but Fury is in charge of S.W.O.R.D. So now we're going forward with Agents of S.W.O.R.D. And if you haven't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you don't need to really watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to understand what happens in the MCU. It helps. It gives you the backstory of certain things, but it's not necessary. Which is why after S.H.I.E.L.D. fell in Captain America Winter Soldier, they could jump to S.W.O.R.D. and not have a complete continuity issue, because it works either way. So big ups to Kevin Feige for being able to replace S.W.O.R.D. and it not be too much of a plot issue.
You replace
Also,
S.H.I.E.L.D.
You replace S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah. Also, too, he brought Captain Marvel's characters, Ant-Man's characters, and Thor's characters together. Because Darcy is supposed to be in the Thor Love and Thunder, right? So he's setting up.
She got her doctorate apparently in that 5-year time gap.
Yeah, because she was working on that. She Thor Dark
World. She was working on her master's
in Thor Dark World.
Right.
Yeah, so she had like 10 years. Yeah, she had like 10 years. So now she works now. And the fact that they brought her, and that's another thing too, right? S.H.I.E.L.D. got her. So S.H.I.E.L.D. got her
and
first.
Not Natalie Portman's character.
Yeah, not Natalie Portman's character. S.H.I.E.L.D. got her first, which means that the continuity between S.W.O.R.D. and S.H.I.E.L.D. is still there. Because she was working with S.H.I.E.L.D. and Thor at one point. So the continuity is still there. She's still an important character within the MCU because of her experience with Thor and Thor Dark World. But I like how they're not just setting up Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man 3. Now they're setting up Love and Thunder, Ant-Man 3, and Captain Marvel 2 because of these characters. So it's Kevin Feige isn't just setting up 1 or 2 movies now. He's setting up the entire phase 4. And that I like to see that. I wonder who else is going to show up out the cut. Like, hey, remember me? So definitely not Vision. He's not going to show up at all.
I do like how we got another Mephisto nod in this episode. So I wonder if they're actually going to show Mephisto in this series at this point, because there was another Easter egg for him. It was literally a blink and you miss it.
What was it? Tell me.
The license plate, when they were, when they drove up and saw the sheriffs, they had a license plate number that said 1966, but the font for the 9 and the 2 6s were completely different from one another. And then we all know when you invert 9,
it's 6.
Yeah. And the font was very different. And they said they were from quote unquote Eastview.
Yeah.
And they say Loosey Goosey's domain is the East.
So at this point, the only person that can interfere is Doctor Strange. So I'm expecting at some point in the show for Doctor Strange.
Maybe we'll get maybe Doctor Strange's second-hand man. What's his name?
Wong.
Yeah, maybe we'll get Wong.
Wong ain't showing up. He couldn't show up.
Wong ain't showing up. He ain't showing up.
Wong didn't show up for Infinity War. He was like, "Oh, y'all fighting? Nah, I'm good. I'm out. Like, I'm gonna go back to the crib."
Okay, but he turned up for Endgame. So...
He had no choice. Doctor Strange was like, "If you don't get your fat ass out this house, no, I'm not buying it." Wong ain't.
He helped bring everybody there. Okay.
And Wong isn't strong enough to take Wanda. That has to be a Doctor Strange.
They don't need him to take down Wanda. They just need him to talk magic.
But he's not. He ain't strong enough for Wanda. That's a Doctor Strange thing. That's a Doctor Strange thing. Though I do want to see if Falcon and Winter Soldier mention this event.
Oh yeah, that is a good one.
Or if they show up in that, you know what I mean? Or if they show up and this spins out into
or even if they get
their show.
mentioned.
Yeah, or even if they get mentioned, because I find, and another thing about Falcon and Winter Soldier too is that their show, rumor has it, their show ties into S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. So because
Shield or Sword or
at this point, look, whichever direction
the
Kevin Feige
distinctions need to be clear, okay?
because the villain from Civil War is going to be their main villain for their first season. He comes back as their villain, and he was working for Hydra. And even though Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. dismantled Hydra, and by Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean the actual Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, as well as the Avengers and Captain America, Nick Fury and them. So Hydra stretches from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show to Winter Soldier to Age of Ultron. So even though they dismantled Hydra, there's still that the villain in Civil War comes back in Falcon and Winter Soldier. So they still have to contest with that. So that should be interesting. But I want to see if they mention Wanda, or if they show up and then tie that out. Like I'm thoroughly surprised the Avengers haven't shown up yet.
And just give it a minute. Just give it a minute.
Yeah, because we don't know how long ago this is from Endgame. So, you know.
Right, especially because based on now that we know the timeline, it's post-blip. Yeah. So we can assume that it's probably happening during the timeline of Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah, so the Avengers still got to regroup. Thor dipped out with Guardians of the Galaxy. They got to Spider-Man is Tony Stark now. They have to regroup. They have to regroup the Avengers now because half of their team is gone. So, you know, but still, I expect Doctor Strange to show up at some point. Maybe not this season, or maybe this season. I don't know if WandaVision is going to be a one shot or not. I don't see WandaVision being more than one season, to be honest with you, just because it wouldn't make sense.
Well, we don't know because, you know, money talks, but it's 10 episodes are slated, so who knows if the 10 episodes are going to just be like a whole complete story.
And another question is, does this tie into Black Widow? Because they've been stalling on Black Widow forever, but Black Widow was supposed to come out before WandaVision, so I wonder maybe not. But
at this point, I would care for Black Widow, but they're years too late for Black Widow, and I'm just still mad about what they did with Black Widow, so I don't even care anymore.
Yeah, they gave us Mulan, but not Black Widow. I was like, I don't even care about Mulan.
Right. And from what Widow. They've said, the movie is done. The movie is edited. It's been done. It's been edited. They did the reshoots that needed to be, like, that movie is done.
They just sitting on that. And at this point,
that's why I wish I'm not hyped anymore. They just keep shafting.
Yeah, because now the release date is supposed to be for May of this year, but it's like, but if this movie came before WandaVision, then that means that it doesn't tie into WandaVision. So, because it's a flashback movie, so I'm like,
yeah. So remember, it's Marvel, so they're probably trying to wait until theaters open back up.
Yeah, they're like, all right. That's what they're doing because they're trying to get that profit loss, but it's like.
I mean, I get that, but I mean,
but also it's a pandemic. I need to know what's happening.
Yeah, like
this timeline.
I feel like they can make that up in streams. I know they definitely did with Mulan, and again, you gave us Mulan, and nobody cared about that movie. Why couldn't we get Captain Marvel? And that's another thing too. Is like this is another conversation for another time. But I feel like they can make it up in streams. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll give it to us in May. Maybe they won't. But even if they do release it in theaters, there are a lot of people in remote places like me who won't be able to go see it because my theater shut down completely. They took the AMC sign off the building. So they would have to release it on stream either way, and they're in talks about doing that anyway. But we'll see. But I look forward to this upcoming week's episode for sure. I wonder if it's going to be Wanda based or S.W.O.R.D based or both. I wonder if they're going to go back and forth now that we know what's going on behind the scenes. We'll see.
Maybe even Vision based.
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because there's some scenes that keep getting leaked with Vision having conversations with certain characters. Agnes. He had a conversation with Agnes, and Agnes told him that he was dead, and he was confused. There was a scene where like he's realizing what's going on. But again, that's why I'm confused, because they know Vision's dead. If they tell Vision he's dead, and Vision is consciously aware that he's dead, then how is it that, like, Vision's dead, but he can still act independently of Wanda, and that's what makes this whole thing confusing. So when Wanda flashed to Vision dead in this episode, was she seeing what was or what is? That's the real question.
It seems like she's not controlling him, but she reanimated him.
Yeah.
Like her energy. Yeah, she probably has the power to do some shit like that.
Yeah.
She most definitely.
And it's so gross.
So that's the question, is like, okay, so is Vision, like, is he really dead? Like, that's the real question. Or did she, because she has that power, did she reanimate him? We'll find out. Find out.
Because that whole final sequence was beautiful, because it was just peak House of M vibes. And I was just like, I'm just like, please give me more, because House of M is still to date my favorite Marvel comic arc ever. Like,
I bought it. Bought it so I could read it. I had to. I've never read a Marvel comic, but this will be my first.
Oh my god! Enjoy House of M. It's so trippy and so mindfuckery.
Yeah,
like,
I bought it yesterday.
Such good writing. It's such good writing.
But all right, we're gonna get out of here. We will see you guys next week with more discussion and predictions and whatnots and what have yous. And it's your boy Jonathan D'Angelo, aka Johnny D, Neko Yasha, aka Danny, and your nerdy fitness expert, Damn Dad Bod. And we are out of here. Peace.
Bye.